In today's video, I want to share with you 10 things that I have stopped doing to help me create a calmer, more resonant, more authentic online presence so that you can grow your business in a way that feels authentic and aligned too. I get comments and emails and voice notes from people who follow me online all of the time, letting me know that the video that they just watched or the podcast or audio that they just listened to has left them feeling very calm, and it's soothing, and it leaves them feeling in a better, more relaxed, peaceful state than before they engaged with my content. What most people may not realize is that I have intentionally been cultivating this space over many years. It's not by accident that they feel this way. And what I have found by creating this type of energy in my content and bringing this energy into my content is that it allows me to not only create a deeper connection with my audience because there is less noise to distract them from the message, but it allows me to also align with my energy and my style so that I don't burn out as much, that I don't feel as overwhelmed. Content creation and my business is much more sustainable when I can do it in a way that feels true by honoring who I am and the energetic capacity that I have to do this work. So the first thing that I quit in my business to help me build a more calm, authentic online presence is I quit trying to be the expert. When you're constantly trying to position yourself as the expert, it creates a barrier between you and your audience. Instead of talking with them, you're talking at them. And nobody likes to feel like they're being lectured or told what to do. Instead of trying to be the expert in my niche with all of the answers, instead, I focus on and I embrace just being relatable and conversational and being vulnerable with my audience. People connect with stories. They can relate to a struggle that you're going through. All of that is going to help make your content feel so much more authentic and real and relatable. That's what they're connected to. When I create my content, I like to share it all, the ups, the downs, the successes, where I'm doing very well while I failed miserably, because not only does it help allow my audience to feel seen, heard, and understood. Your online presence is going to feel so much more authentic when you can show up as a relatable human, not a perfect guru. The next thing that I quit is I quit retention editing, and now I just allow my content to breathe. When we're talking about retention editing, we're talking about fast cuts, crazy transitions, lots of high energy visuals, and a presentation style to keep the audience and the viewer engaged for as long as possible. Even though I have definitely been guilty of doing those things in the past, what I've noticed is trying to keep up at a pace that is unnatural is not only exhausting for me, but it's also exhausting and overwhelming for my audience too. Remember, your audience wants connection, not chaos. How can you give your content more moments of stillness to reduce the noise and connect with your audience more deeply? The third thing that I quit doing to help me create a more calm, authentic online presence is I quit following what everybody else is doing and I realigned with my own vision instead. It's so easy to get caught up in the comparison game when you see others who are succeeding and thriving following proven methods, even if they don't necessarily align with you. But the truth is, the more you follow others, the more diluted your own voice gets, the further away you get from your own vision. So instead of trying to fit the mold, I just began to embrace what feels aligned and true for me. What is my vision for this space? What does my voice want to say, and how do I want to show up in this space? So instead of trying to follow what everybody else is doing in their content and to grow their business, instead, I just focus on my own core values of being slow, intentional, and deeply connected to my creativity, both in my life and in my marketing. For example, there's a lot of YouTubers who will tell you that your hook and your intro, that first 30 seconds, is the most important part of any video to keep your audience's attention. So you need to be fast and high energy with lots of jump cuts and transitions. But for me, none of that ever felt aligned. In fact, it actually feels very off-putting to me and overwhelming to start my videos in such a way. So instead, I opt for a slower, more cinematic style, which could be very boring and dull and not that interesting for some, but I know that my true audience will really appreciate the slower, calmer, more intentional approach. So the fourth thing that I've quit is I've quit trying too hard, and I'm really working on letting go of perfection. I used to spend so much time worrying about how I'm going to look on camera. Is my makeup good enough? Does my hair look okay today? And although I still care about those things to some degree, I'm not going to let it stop me from showing up. Always trying to present a perfectly polished version of yourself is exhausting. And not only is it exhausting for you, it isn't relatable for your audience either. Now I just try to embrace the true, authentic version of who I am. Some people will like it and some people won't, and that is perfectly okay. I know that it's my unique style, the way that I present myself, my energy signature, that is going to be the thing that draws people in. Not a polished version of myself, not a watered down version of myself trying to be what I think others expect me to be, which is only going to lead you down the path of burnout and exhaustion. And it's not a sustainable long-term approach for growing your business. How much time are you spending on things that don't truly matter? How would your business change if you just allowed yourself to show up exactly as you are? The fifth thing I quit doing is I quit using loud colors and fonts in my branding. I opt for a calm, soothing online presence that is cohesive instead. I've never really been one for loud, bright colors in my online branding, but there was one point in my marketing that I felt like maybe I should try that on and see if that will help me engage more people and to help me get more followers, kind of following all of the superficial metrics that I think a lot of us, when we're especially first starting out, kind of get sucked into. But there was always a disconnect with my content. It never really resonated with me either. Therefore, I would get engagement, but it wasn't loyal long-term relationships that I was building. It was very superficial and people were not sticking around, and they certainly were not buying my courses or signing up to work with me one-on-one. For me, loud colors and fonts is very distracting, overstimulating, and I feel very overwhelmed when somebody uses this in their branding. It really turns me off, and I feel as though the marketing feels a lot more pushy and forced. This is in no way how I want to interact or engage my audience, which is why I opt for more soft, subdued, more subtle tones and colors and fonts that feel calming and soothing in nature. For years, I have been evolving my visual style to allow there to be breathing room and space in my content so that when people engage with me or they find me online, they feel a sense of calm instantly. They feel like they can pause for a moment and take a break. I think so often in our marketing, everything is rushed, everything is really fast and loud and coerced, and it all feels very forceful. So when you can find an online presence that feels the opposite, it feels like a breath of fresh air and people really notice. Are the visuals in your content aligned with your energy and the energy that you want to be putting out into the world? If not, how can you simplify? How can you soften things and make things feel more aligned with who you are and create more harmony for you and your audience? So the sixth thing that I've quit to help me create a more calm, authentic online presence so that I'm not so overwhelmed is I quit chasing algorithms. I was trying to figure out what the algorithm wants to help my content be seen so that it kind of felt more effortless and easy for me. And in the end, what ended up happening was it really led to a lot of burnout and overwhelm and disconnection with my audience, because rather than trying to create for a real person with real problems and struggles that they're looking to solve in their life and in their business, I was creating content for an algorithm. And that kept me not only disconnected from my own content, it kept my followers disconnected. Everything felt sort of forced and contrived. And that isn't really the space that I want to be creating content in. Instead, now I create content that aligns with my own values, that feels good to create. I know that my audience share similar values of being slow, more intentional, and creating more meaningful content. You just have to trust that being authentic and just staying aligned to your own values and your own energy and style is enough to help you connect with the right audience. The seventh thing I did is I quit following the advice of mainstream creators and coaches. Instead, I rely on my own intuition, my own inner knowing, and I trust that path instead. For years, I got sucked into following so many mainstream coaches, gurus, creators who follow very traditional marketing methods, feeling that was the approach that I needed to follow in order to grow my business. Unfortunately, those methods never aligned with the slow, intentional, more meaningful and thoughtful approach that I wanted to take to help me grow my business in a more authentic and sustainable way. Number 8 is I quit worrying about what others think and I just follow my own natural pace and rhythm instead. It's really easy when everybody is going really fast or they're loud and they're super high energy to think my content's too boring, it's too slow, people are going to lose interest, it's not going to be engaging enough for them to stick around. But here's the thing, it is okay to not appeal to everyone. In fact, it's better if you don't appeal to everyone because it means that you're being true to who you are. When you're being true to who you are and you're being very authentic in your content and not worrying about what others think, there's more opportunity for you to make the right connections with the right people for your work. I do my best to make my content as meaningful, as enjoyable, as beautiful as I possibly can, because that's what feels aligned and true for me. I'm not going to add flair or try to be more enthusiastic than I really am in real life, just to try to engage somebody into something that's not really going to be a fit for them long term anyway. I know that my true audience resonates with the calmer, more slower approach, and that's all that matters. Are you creating for others' approval, or are you creating for your own pure joy and fulfillment? How would your content change if you stopped worrying about what others think? The 9th thing I quit to help me create a calm, more authentic online presence is I quit speaking too quickly. Now I embrace a slower, more intentional pace instead. There is so much pressure to be loud and energetic, especially if you're creating content for YouTube, to keep people engaged, to grab attention. But what I've also learned is that there is so much power in having a calm, grounded energy that helps your audience truly tune into the message that you're trying to convey. Instead of speaking too fast and trying to cram as much into one piece of content as I can, now I focus on clarity and intention to make my message as clear and resonant as I possibly can. This is still a work in progress for me because my natural way of speaking, especially when I'm very excited about a topic, is to speak very quickly, to use my hands, to use a lot of movement. So I really have to work at slowing down, taking intentional pauses, allowing those moments of reflection to come through in my work so that my audience can not be distracted by all the noise, but can get the true essence and depth of my message. And finally, number 10, I quit pushing myself and I allow my content to flow more naturally. There used to be a time when I was really into creating content consistently, trying to put out as much content as I could. The more that I was out there, the more engagement I would get, the faster I would grow. But all this did was lead me to severe burnout and a complete disconnection from my work, to the point that I had to take a 6-month hiatus in order to fully recover and to feel any inspiration for my business again. Most coaches are going to tell you that consistency is really the key, and the more that you can show up, the faster you're going to grow. And of course, there is truth to that. But what if you don't have the energetic capacity to do that? What if you don't have a schedule that allows you to do that because you have young children, or you have aging parents, or a part-time job, or a chronic illness that prevents you from being online all of the time? I used to really feel the need to create more content because I feared that I would just fall behind my peers who seemed to be getting rapid success online. But that whole approach, that whole mindset always left me burnt out. I could not keep up with what everybody else was doing. My energy, my schedule just did not allow it. So now I just focus on creating fewer, more intentional pieces of content that align with my message and align with my energy so that I can just do this at a pace that feels really natural and sustainable for me. I no longer feel the need to post consistently or constantly. Now I can just focus on creating one piece of content once a week that's full of depth, that's full of reflection, that's full of creativity, and that is enough. So these 10 things that I've quit have really allowed me to create a calmer, more authentic online presence that helps you make deeper, more resonant connections with the right audience away from all of the noise so that they can really tune in to the essence of my message and really align with the values that I want to convey in my work. I hope that this video has inspired you and you've gained some tips and inspiration for you to be able to do the same in your online presence. If you're feeling the weight of the external expectations of others, or you're really struggling to keep up with the pace that everybody else seems to be going at with content creation and also the energy that they're putting into their content, the level of energy that they're putting into their content, take a moment and reflect on what can you let go of. Sometimes the most powerful change comes from not adding more, but from letting go of what no longer serves you. If this resonated with you, what is one thing you could let go of or you could do to help you create a more calm, authentic online presence that doesn't feel overwhelming for you or for your audience? Let me know in the comments. And if you're interested in learning about a more slower, more intentional approach to business, please subscribe to this channel, or you can download my free guided audio, The Art of Slow Business, in the description below. Thank you so much for watching.